Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today we're going to make some adorable holiday tags using stencils and dies from the This Calls for Confetti collection. For this project, we'll be using the Retro Stripe and Retro Stripe add-on stencil sets. Recently, I've shared multiple projects with both these collections, but today I want to show you another way to use them. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love to add florals and foliage to my tags. So I've also grabbed the Autumn Artesian die set. As I create today's projects, I'll bring in a few additional supplies. As always, I encourage you to use what you already own, but if you would like a list of the supplies I'm using, one can be found in the description below, along with my affiliate link to the This Calls for Confetti shop. Let's get started with the project. I'm going to create 2 circle tags using the Retro Stripe stencil collection. This set comes with an arch, rectangle, and circle mask, as well as a set of thick stripes and a 2-stripe mask. I'm going to place the circle shape onto some mixed media cardstock, then layer the thick stripe over the top. I want to shade my stripes with 2 colors of red, so I'm going to use the 2-stripe stencil as a mask to cover up 2 of the spaces. These stripes are going to be shaded with candy apple ink. I prefer to use a Distress Oxide ink and a blending brush with delicate stencils like this one. I'm going to remove that 2-stripe mask, and now I have 2 candy apple stripes. Most plaid designs have more than one color, so I'm going to shade these other lines with darker red. To prevent the lumberjack ink from getting onto the other parts of the design, I'm going to use that 2-stripe stencil mask over the candy apple stripes. Once 2 of the stripes are shaded in, I'm going to shift the stencil so that I can add color to the 3rd stripe. I chose to keep my colors simple today, but you can mix and match your plaid patterns in any way you want. You could bring in some green, yellow, blue, or a few metallics to your tag projects. These same techniques could also be replicated on your card making and scrapbooking designs. At this point, you could use this design as is to create your tags. But I want to show you how to use those stencils to create a plaid. Plaid is one of my favorite patterns for Christmas. Let's place that circle stencil back down and secure it in place. Over the top, I'm going to layer a thin stripe stencil. This is from the Retro Stripes add-on collection. I'm going to place these stripes vertically and use a pouncing tool to add Black Soot Distress Oxide ink to the pattern. Now, you could use a blending brush, but I discovered that a pouncer works much better when you've already applied multiple layers of Distress Oxide ink. When I attempted to create this pattern the first time with a blending brush, I ended up smearing the red ink and I didn't get very crisp, thin black lines. The pouncer tool fills in the thin lines without causing any distortion or damage to the rest of the stripes I already added. Here's what the pattern looks like with 1 set of stripes. Most plaid designs have 2 thin lines close together, so I'm going to add a second set. After washing off my stencil, I'm going to use the pouncer tool once again to fill in the images. This here is a very basic plaid with 2 red hues and some black stripes. To make this a striking holiday plaid, we're going to add some black horizontal lines. I am going to offset these over the red stripes, secure the stencil in place, and add the rest of the lines with black soot ink. All right, so here's where the magic happens. We're going to pull off the top stencil and the circle mask and take a look at that lovely plaid. Isn't that so cute? This is perfect for Christmas. I'm going to use the circle die that came with the Retro Stripes add-on collection to cut out the stencil shape, and I'll cut out a few more images for the tags. Off camera, I cut out the plaid circle, 2 white cardstock circles, a 1/4-inch piece of black cardstock, and some leaves, acorns, and berries using the Autumn Artesian die set. I cut these leaves here from a green pattern paper, the berries from a deep red, and the acorns from tan and gold. From this single plaid circle, we're going to make 2 tags. This is about 4 inches across, so I'm going to line up my paper cutter at 2 inches and cut right down the center. Now I'm going to adhere each of those halves to the cardstock circles. The white space at the top is where you can add a sentiment or the name of the recipient. Above the plaid pattern, I'm going to layer the black strip of cardstock. If you wanted, you could use ribbon or twine or one of your favorite border dies to add some embellishment and decoration. On the first tag, I'm using 2 leaf shapes and the berries. With a tiny blending brush, I'm adding some dimension to the leaves with dark green ink. I also like to add ink to the veins on my leaves. I just fold the leaf in half and brush a little bit of ink on the fold. I'm going to bring in a white gel pen and add a few highlights to the berries. You could also add some shimmer with a glitter brush or add a few sequins. If this were a card or scrapbook page, I would probably bring in some foam tape and create some dimension in my leaves and berries. Most tags end up in the trash, and I don't want to waste too much of my adhesive on that type of project. All right, I'm going to bring in a second tag and start adding some ink to those leaves. I've added some around the edges of the lighter leaf and some to the center veins. I am going to adhere the larger leaf on the left side and bring in those acorns. Now I know that acorns are more of a fall icon, but I think that these work for Christmas too. I removed the oak leaf and I plan to layer the gold over the top to give them a holiday sparkle. With the die, I cut 6 acorn shapes, 3 from tan paper and 3 from gold foil cardstock. I love how that gold cardstock picks up the details in the die. I'm just trimming off the top of the acorn, and then I'm going to layer it over the top to give this a 3-dimensional look. The gold cardstock and the ink I added creates such a lovely little acorn, doesn't it? In our house, we don't add names to the tags. When the kids were younger, we didn't label the gifts. We would use a tag design or a tag color to distinguish whose gift was whose. Our hope was that this would prevent the kids from shaking or peeking under wrapping paper, but kids are kids. On Christmas, it was fun to hear the kids guess as to which tag design was theirs. All right, all these pieces are in place. I'm going to finish this up and add my twine to the tags, and then I'll show you the finished projects. Here are the 2 Christmas tags that we created with that fun plaid design using a few layered stencils. In this space here, you can write a person's name or add a sentiment. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out more Christmas projects on the This Calls for Confetti channel. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, feel free to post those in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.